Thank you so much for joining us on this live session where we are going to talk about issues relating to Gambia. And the issues at hand are so many, but we are going to delve right into the Public Order Act. As you know, this is one law that has been there since the colonial era, and now when Jawara took over after the colonial government, um, Jawara also never repealed the Public Order Act. This was a law that the colonialists used to suppress dissent, to make sure that Gambians did not come near the streets to vent their spleen or anger about issues of the day. When Jawara came to power, he never even attempted to repeal it at any point in time. Jame also the same thing, and now we're talking about President Adama Barrow. Well, the matter is in court. We are not going to talk about it, but we have experts or concerned Gambians who are going to share their perspective on this issue. So we are going to talk to Maud Thomas, who is a journalist. He's in here in the U.S. in North Carolina. Maud Thomas, can you hear me? Maud Thomas, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you are live in session talking to us about your perspective on the Public Order Act. What do you make of it?
Well, the Public Order Act, I think, has been there for the longest, and my take on it is when you, I don't know if you're familiar with the Public Order Act, but there's a discretionary powers in Section 5, and there's also an indemnity act. I think that is what they use to suppress people when it comes to demonstration. The 1997 Constitution clearly gives Gambians the right to demonstrate, but this Public Order Act, especially Section 5, which most people need to familiarize themselves with, it gives the police and the magistrate this discretionary power to stop demonstration if conditions are not met, such as like you didn't have a permit, so they can use that. And the Indemnity Act is the one that is even worse, because that for public officials, including law enforcement, it will exempt them from any liability for actions taken during unlawful arrest. So people say, we're going to sue, they're exempted. That is it. So these are the things that they need to change. That is why the only way forward, and I don't want to deviate from what you asked me, is bringing back the constitution reform that was given to us, Gambians all over the world, to look into and digest and have different opinions. That's the only way forward, that constitution. That's the only way forward that can save the Gambia from all these draconian laws.
Okay, so what about the often criticism that is usually leveled against the successive government, that is from the colonial era, from the colonial era to Jawara, Jame, and then now Barrow? Why is it that they are unable to repeal this law?
Because of dictatorship tendencies, because that gives them power to hide behind subjugating the people and suppress the people. And everything has a limit. When you push people to a state of subjugation and they become oblivious of these things, eventually they will fight back. Like Olafs will say, these people didn't take up arms. These people didn't go and burn down any building. These people didn't go and stop traffic and say there's no business going on. They had a peaceful demonstration in front of Pura, which governs the public utilities affairs of the Gambia. And they've been unfair to Gambians. So that's what they did. They didn't block traffic. They didn't say Pura employees won't enter to go and do their day-to-day job. No, they did not. They had no PA systems. So it was totally uncalled for to arrest these people and detain them, and you have Mr. Sar, one of the police officers, showing excessive force I mean, as if he's not even part of us. So that was totally wrong in the first place.
We don't want to delve into the case as of now, since it is going to be considered sub judice. But what do you think can be done to fix this issue? Because on the other side, some people also intimate that the government also has to put in place something so that they will not sit down one day and then a mass protest or mass uprising will just put them out of power.
Well, you just said you don't want to deviate from the point, but let me just uh, interject there a little bit. Nothing is going to come out of it, whether it's in the judiciary or nothing. You can bet what I said here on record. Nothing is going to come out of it. None of these people will be punished. These guys have been freed, and that's it. That's where it will end. They do it again. They're going to be arrested again, detained, and when the people start talking, they release them. It's a ping pong game that they're playing. The only way forward is to have a national dialogue, and I don't think the government is ready for that. I'm hearing from unreliable sources that there's a press conference tomorrow that is inviting all press and all media houses, whether it's local or international. So what is going to be said, we'll wait for that before we put the cart before the horse. But I don't trust anything that this government says because of you know who? Their leadership. President Barrow. President Barrow has said so many things that he hasn't fulfilled from when the campaign before he became a president to when he first became a president up to now. He can be trusted. He's not a leader who can be trusted. And his administration also have anybody there who can be trusted.
Okay, so you want to say repeal or not repeal? There is no way um, the government can suppress dissent.
They can the only thing if we have a leader who understands and it comes back to system change, we can recycle these politicians. That's what we keep doing in Gambia. We can recycle these politicians. But there's this mentality that if we don't change it, these kind of things will continue to go ahead and go on and on and on and on up to our great grandchildren. And one thing is the main factor there that is killing the Gambia and our progress towards national development and towards tranquility in this government, especially this day and age. And that is tribalism. People don't want to talk about it because it's sensitive. It all boils down to that. Everything centers on tribe. This person is this person is that. So there has to be a complete system change. And system change is not just one particular party coming into power, one tribe coming into power, or one particular individual. No, system change is total overhaul of our attitudes as Gambians. And it starts from the homes. I will never be tired of saying that. If the homes are not good, the streets won't be good. If the streets are not good, it will also transcend into the offices and the administration. Simple as that.
Okay, DA Jao has just joined us. DA is the former information minister. DA, we are live. We are talking about the Public Order Act of the Gambia. What do you make of it? It has been around since the colonial era, and successive government have been using it one way or the other to suppress dissent.
Yes, you're right. I mean, this Public Order Act has been with us since colonial times. And, of course, a few amendments have been made here and there, but virtually, it remains intact. Just and I think, we are living in a completely different era. It should have been either completely done away with or at least amended to such a situation that, it will be at least compatible with democracy. Because, every time somebody wants to come out in the street, they need a police permit. Sometimes you are not even sure how the police would determine who to give the permit to and who not to give the permit. So you see, I think it's not a very transparent kind of law at all. So I think it definitely should be done away with.
Okay.
I agree.
Before you came in, Mo Thomas was on the line talking about it, and then also saying that whether it is repealed or not, the thing is that Gambian youth or Gambians will not stop going out to the streets to demonstrate.
Yeah, of course, I agree. I mean, the young people are quite determined to, to make their voices heard. So whether the public order act is there or not, I mean, it's just going to encourage kind of confrontation that, like just what we've seen in the past few days or so. I think it's unnecessary. I mean, the youths are very, very impatient, and I mean, the authorities should definitely take cognizance of that and make sure that the laws are actually strengthened to accommodate that kind of system. Because honestly, the youths are not going to wait for somebody to sit down there and think about amending those things. They will definitely come out, and it's just going to encourage more and more confrontation between them and the security forces, and that's not good for the image of the government at all.
Okay. Stay on the line, DA. How to call it? Mo Thomas. Now, moving forward, what are some of the implications in this? Because I read a piece by some concerned Gambians across the social media urging the government to reconsider, ways of repealing this public order act. You think this is going to be done as soon as is expected?
Well, it needs a public dialogue with all the parastatals um, to come to the drawing board and brainstorm over things. Because you cannot just say repeal, repeal, repeal how, you know, because everything they do is kind of systemic to a point where if it doesn't favor the government, they don't go all hands on deck with it. They will have to get at least some kind of like a liability. That's why I said I don't know how familiar you are with the Public Order Act and the Constitution when it comes to demonstration. It has these, the liability issues and just the discretionary powers that it gives the authorities and the indemnity act that it gives them to exempt them from any liabilities. So this needs to be completely repealed, like DA said. This has been since like God knows since the colonial days. They just made some tweaks here and there, and it's not gonna work. I mean, once somebody tastes freedom, you cannot take that away from them. These people tasted that. So many people were yearning for this when Jame was there. Maybe few were outspoken enough, but since Barrow came, Gambians have tasted the issue of freedom, the right to express their views without violence, and this is exactly what these people did. They did not stop Pura from going to work. They did not stop any traffic. They did not burn down any building. They didn't destroy any place. They had even no PA system. So their arrest was just totally uncalled for. It was totally just added fuel to the fire that is already existing.
Okay, DA, in order not to go into the nitty gritties of the case since it's before the courts, moving forward, what lessons do we learn from this? Earlier this in our live session, I had Dr. Babagale Jalo, whom I reminded about the TRRC and the testimonies. And now, what do you tend to see looking a little bit back in the past and the present dispensation?
Yes, you're quite right because during the TRRC era, we had this mantra, never again. But it appears, I mean, if you look at the comportment of the police, the way they are dealing with, it's this kind of outings by the young people, because this is not the first time, and even not the second time this is happening. I mean, it shows that there is not much change from what it used to be during the Jami era. So this TRRC never again is definitely not being applied to the letter, and that is very, very important. I mean, there are lessons the government and the security forces should have been learning from the past. I mean, if you encourage confrontation with the young people, you are just radicalizing them, and there is nothing stopping them from coming out. I mean, I think dialogue is important. Every time maybe they want to come out. Call them, sit down with them, and then agree on, on terms and other things. Just like what Thomas said, youth are not coming out to destroy anything. They just want to peacefully, convey their message in different forms. So I think the government should be aware of that. They should definitely, give precedence to dialogue, preference to dialogue rather than confrontation. It's not helping anybody. It's definitely not in the interest of the government. It's not in the interest of the country at all.
Okay. Motors, earlier you intimated that the government or the youths are not going to relent in their quest to continue demonstrating. Um, well, that might be, someone might say, I mean, it's incitement because the matter is going to court. So maybe there are lessons that they should learn from this. So, but in other words, you are inciting more of the youths who might be listening or who are contemplating what actions to take next.
No, that's not incitement. Incitement is for somebody to say, "Hey, so and so group, so and so, I want you guys to go and do this." I'm saying with the way they're handling things, this is not gonna stop this kind of protest going on. That's what I said, and I will say that again a million times because that's not how you stop a situation. When a fire is burning, you don't pour gasoline onto it. You find a way to ease the burning, and that's not what they're doing. You don't use force saying, hey, just because somebody said, oh, it's our right to be here. You say, get them arrested. Using force on people who has no weapons, people who said nothing that was like a danger to the government or the security forces. They were just there to voice their grievances against poor. So I don't know how insightful that is.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree that definitely that is not an incitement. What we are talking about, we are not even specifically referring to this particular case, which is
Exactly.
What we are talking about is, this has been going on over and over. This is not the first time, not the second time. There is this kind of element of confrontation between the two sides. I think, it should stop. Everybody should learn a lesson. And what we need is dialogue between the different, interest groups here. Here the security forces maybe and the young people, they have very, very genuine grievances. When they come out, they always come out with very, very genuine grievances. And if you just want to use the law and suppress them, that is definitely going to radicalize them and then encourage them to come out more and more. So I think sit down, discuss the matter, and see how best we can move forward. But honestly, this kind of situation is not sustainable at all. It's not in the interest of anybody.
well, it's not sustainable at all. And then this is not the first protest, and likely it's not going to be the last either. Now, shifting to the issues. Well, as the protest is going, well, as the matter is going before the courts, um, the issues or the issue that they talked about that they protested, somewhat government seems to be keen on trying to improve on that because there's a development on top of the in the aftermath of the protest. Can you expatiate on that?
Yes, of course. The very fact that President Barrow has set up a committee to look at the Pura data policy system that they have just developed, I think it indicates that the young people definitely had a chance. They had very genuine grievances. The public had genuine grievances about this one by Pura to regulate the prices of data at this particular time, because we all know that the different GSM factories, operators are right now engaged in a kind of a data war. That is to the interest of the public, because the very fact that they are just bringing their data prices down and down, the public get the benefit. This is definitely good. Of course, they are the regulators. They have the right to come out and regulate the system at any time they wish to. But at this particular moment, definitely they should not have been involved, because if they do, people can accuse them of being siding with big business or something of that sort. So I think this is a lesson that everybody learns. And the very fact that President Barrow has set up this committee indicates that definitely there is an issue there. Definitely, the young people had a very genuine issue to come out and protest.